a new wildfires program. The program will draw from our satellite and airborne observations, our eyes in the sky. That technology will develop data-driven tools to support the heroes who are fighting the fires, and they're trying to prevent the next fire. Today, we are announcing a new web application. OpenET will be made available to the public. Starting in September, OpenET will put NASA Earth satellite data into the hands of farmers, water managers, and conservation groups. It has the power to assist with water management in the West, telling users how much water is being consumed by agricultural crops. All of NASA's missions begin on this planet, and each brings extensive value. One that's going to leave this planet is the new James Webb Space Telescope, the biggest telescope ever built. It will launch on an Ariane from French Guiana. This telescope will fundamentally alter our understanding of the universe. For the first time, we'll see the light from first galaxies that formed in the early universe. Webb is nearly ready to take flight. With most missions, launch contributes most of the risk. Not so with Webb. With Webb, most of the risk will come well after it sets out to explore the heavens, and it will keep us on the edge of our seats for weeks as it unfolds its mirrors. It looks out into deep space in a position 1,000,000 miles from Earth at a Lagrange point on the opposite side of the Earth from the sun. It even has a blanket that will unfold on its backside to keep additional light out. It will look through a keyhole, not the broad expanse of the universe, through a keyhole, and it will peer back to the light and capture it from over 13 billion years ago. And then there's Buck Rogers. Like millions of Americans, I am a member of the Apollo generation. Growing up near the Cape, the names of the first astronauts were known to all my schoolmates. I was a lieutenant over behind the Iron Curtain when Apollo 11 took off, and I watched its landing, returning to the States on a grainy black and white TV in a hotel room in London. The explorers and adventurers and innovators of tomorrow will belong to a new generation, the Artemis generation. It's NASA's 21st century lunar exploration program. Its missions will make new discoveries, advance technologies, and show us how to live and to work in another world. And for that to be possible, the space program needs a constancy. That's why NASA must be a nonpartisan agency, and why the Artemis program has bipartisan support. You'll hear later from Senator Moran of Kansas. He's a Republican, I'm a Democrat, and he is a partner in our space program. For the first time in more than 50 years, NASA will return humans to the moon, and we will go in a way that reflects the world today, with government, with industry and with international partners in a global effort. I want to hand it over to Drew Barrymore and my colleagues at NASA to help answer the question, why the moon? Roll the tape. I hope this is not the 10-hour delay. Well, the tape is not rolling. Our moon rocket, the Space Launch System, is the most powerful rocket that NASA ever built, and the only rocket built to send more than 57,000 pounds to deep space. At liftoff, Artemis 1 will have 8.8 million pounds of thrust to send our astronauts and supplies the 239,000 miles to the moon. After launch from the Cape in a few months, Artemis 1 will spend 26 days in lunar orbit, traveling to distances that no human-rated crew vehicle has ever been. And we'll also soon be landing our first robotic lander on the moon since 1968. Ushering in a new era of global science and exploration. Now, I'm supposed to hand it back over to Drew. Okay. Will you run both videos, please? Okay, take it away. Okay, we need 1 minute. So let's see if I'm good at filling time. I have just been amazed. I thought I knew NASA over nearly 50 years of public service, but when I have gotten into NASA, I mean, it's just amazing. And what General Raymond talked about, you're going to hear later from Dr. Scalise. We spent 3 hours on the plane talking to each other. We've met several times. This is the kind of partnership that we're going to have. And the people at NASA are so enthusiastic. They're about to bust out of their shirts. And you ought to see our interns. We have 1,600 interns. And whenever you meet them, their eyes are as wide as saucers. This is the Artemis generation. Okay, roll the tape.
We are going. The history of this agency is marked with broken barriers, once viewed as impossible, with science fiction turned reality, with innovations that have spun industries all their own, and with demonstrations of peace for all humankind.
We soar in the skies of our home planet. We maintain a human presence just outside of gravity, and we touch points all across the solar system and beyond. We're going back to the moon, and this is why.
The moon is a treasure trove of science.
It holds opportunities for us to make discoveries about our home planet, about our sun,
and about our solar system.
The wealth of knowledge to be gleaned from the moon will inspire a new generation of thought and action.
Without fail, every major program and mission NASA has invested in has led to technologies and capabilities that have shaped our culture.
The breakthroughs of the Artemis era will define our generation and the generations to follow.
The tens of thousands of jobs associated with propelling us to the moon today are just the beginning of a lunar economy that will see hundreds of thousands of new jobs develop around the world.
This is not an ambition of one entity or one country. The exploration of the moon is a shared effort.
Woven together by a desire for the greater good. Why the moon? Because the missions of tomorrow will be sparked by the accomplishments of the Artemis generation today.
Because the ambition to go has already begun.
And because Mars is calling. We need to learn what it takes to establish a community on another cosmic shore. So let's camp close before pushing out.
And so, we go to the moon now, not as a series of isolated missions, but to build a community on and around the moon capable of proving how to live on other worlds.
We'll use the lessons from more than 50 years of peaceful exploration to send a new generation to the lunar surface to stay.
We will anchor our efforts on the lunar South Pole to establish the Artemis Base Camp,
positioning us for long-term science and exploration of the lunar surface.
We will prove what it takes to assemble a complex ship in deep space.
We will perfect descending down to and returning from a distant surface.
We will learn how humans can survive and thrive in a partial gravity environment.
With improved spacesuit designs, mobile habitats, and with reconnaissance robots pre-positioning and relocating supplies.
We will learn how to utilize the resources we find on these other worlds, starting with finding water ice and purifying it to drinkable water.
And refining that into hydrogen for fuel and oxygen to breathe.
We will establish fission power plants on the surface of the moon capable of supporting a growing community of efforts.
And we will expand the logistics supply chain to enable commercial and international partners
to resupply and refuel deep space outposts.
None of this is simple or easy, but nothing in our history ever has been.
The Eagle has landed. We got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
This kind of continuous lunar presence is a natural extension of all that we've learned in low Earth orbit. And what we will accomplish there will ensure the monumental missions to Mars are within reach. As we ready the launch of the first Artemis mission, and as commercial companies ready their lunar landers for the first private payload deliveries, we have already begun to take the next step.
You saw on the screen Bob Cabana, who I stole from the Kennedy Space Center and who I've known for over 36 years as our associate administrator. And of course, the lady who is our deputy administrator is the one that I'd recommended to Joe Biden to be the administrator of NASA, Pam Melroy. And when I got the call that said he wants you to take NASA, I said, well, I'd only do it under one condition, that he nominate someone like Pam, and fortunately they did. The three of us work together. We're a team. We collaborate almost every hour of every day. What you saw on the film is only the beginning of a new era. It's a new era of first. Together with our international and commercial partners, Artemis missions will send more astronauts to explore more of the moon than ever before, including the first woman and the first person of color. For the first time, NASA will land instruments on the far side of the moon. We will study moonquakes, investigate meteorite impact, and understand its interior. For the first time, our astronauts will explore the lunar South Pole. Our Viper mission will measure how much water is below the surface, and it will determine whether that water can be extracted, and not just for hydration. We'll learn if it's possible to create breathable air and rocket fuel to power missions deeper into the cosmos. We'll build Gateway, an international outpost in lunar orbit for science that will also give access for astronauts to the entire moon. And what we learn, what we develop, and what we experience will prepare us for the next giant leap, sending humans to Mars. It's not going to be easy. The recruiting video, if I were young, when I saw General Raymond's video, I'd sign up. Space is hard. Multiple components are involved in its complex mission, like Gateway, a commercial human landing system, and a next-generation spacesuit. Our human landing system demo award has been held up by delays and by litigation. The spacesuits, which for the first time we built by our commercial partners, have been technically challenging, and COVID-19 has caused unprecedented disruptions in the supply chain. But remember back what Kennedy said at Rice University in 1962. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. We can do hard things. We are a can-do people. We're presented with the opportunity for America to lead on the challenges we face today as a nation and as members of a global society. For America to lead in space and in turn to continue to lead here on Earth, it will take all of us working together. It happens to most space flyers when you look out the window of the spacecraft orbiting at 17,500 miles an hour, 90 minutes around the globe. It happens that you see this incredible creation, so colorful, suspended in the middle of nothing. And it looks also so fragile. I wanted, as a result of that experience, to come back home and be a better steward of our planet. But there was something else that happened to me as a public servant, because when I looked out, I didn't see racial divisions. I didn't see religious divisions. I didn't see political division. What I saw was that we are all in this together as citizens of the planet. And the space program is one of the few things that unites us here on Earth. Let us build it carefully and let us use it wisely. Thank you, and God bless you.
Senator Nelson, thank you. Thank you for those remarks and for your leadership at NASA. I'll say it's truly inspirational what the NASA team does for us every day. Good morning. I'm Thomas Dormy with the Space Foundation, and it's my pleasure to be able to introduce some of our distinguished speakers for this morning's